It was inspired by the ancient quipu idea of talking knots, which was how the Incans recorded history. The visitor would come into the room at first unsure of how to interact with these ropes, but as soon as they knew that they could touch these ropes, that they could feel them, that they could throw them around, everything changed. It was like their bodies became part of the work. There was a kind of childish delight in moving through the space. The first thing you encounter is the smell. It was this earthy, loamy smell. Louis had filled the entire foyer with couches and this explosion of houseplants that were almost aggressive in nature. At times it was unclear who was part of the work and who was a visitor, who was a dancer and who was just there to see what was going on. I'm not sure the distinction mattered. Anyone resisted description. Hashtag, you had to be there. An amalgamation of video footage of ventriloquism, cuttlefish, and cityscapes, a manic marquee sign, a graceful beacon lamp that slid the length of the space, a motley assortment of inflatable fish, and a plethora of tiny speakers. No two moments were the same. And here was the kicker. This whole universe was controlled by a jar of yeast. The sounds of the museum and an algorithm. Sounds complicated? Good. It was. London fog felt at once minimal and complex. There's a sort of profound dialogue between the elements and the artists, between the museum and the city around it. Around me, the fog was changing with the breeze. It rose up and twisted, obscuring the world beyond. For a moment, I was trapped in a cocoon, completely transported. And then the mist broke, and I was standing next to a museum inside a great and beautiful city. There's so many different ways to move through the museum. You can use it as a thoroughfare, as a picnic spot, as a place to declare your love, as a place to fall asleep. A museum needs to contain all of these spaces. In a way, a city should be designed like a museum. Places for collision, places for thinking, places for commerce, places for art making. A city and a museum should not be all that different.